Welcome back to Footprints, a podcast that tells the stories and shares the wisdom of our elders. This is part 2 of Ruth's story. So we end where she told us how destiny led her to become a peace activist, from being a librarian, then going briefly towards a parliament and supporting the constitution-making process as a documentalist and analyst, and then on to becoming a peace activist. So Ruth, take up the story from there.
Yes, so after coming back to Uganda after my master's, I go back to my
Attorney
Attorney's library. But I came with vibes. I wanted to put what I had read in action. My dream was to open the walls of the Attorney General's library for lawyers. The instance was, when can I take the lawyers to know what is in communities so that they would be able to start reviewing the laws, the British laws, and see how they resonate with the realities we have. That was the dream. And I remember one time, Sekaja, we went with Sekaja to do some study. It was a study press, Margaret Sekaja. By that time, she was at the LDC. And that really, I affirmed that, we went through different districts to see what kind of books do they want, what laws do they have. And I was like, they don't need to bring the laws here, but the lawyers need to go and start listening to what people are saying, what kind of conflicts are in the communities, for them to come back and put in place the laws that really would resonate with the crimes and the conflicts and already in communities. When I came back, I went back to the Attorney General's library. Things seem to be the same. So I go for public service interview, and I find again public servants. The panel was looking at libraries in the Victorian age libraries. So they say, now you've got a master's in communication policies. How are you going to use this into the library? And I said, that's the question I wanted. I dreamt.
Yeah.
I told them what it would look like. The library would not only be at the Attorney General's offices. There would be units in different places where lawyers would be having conversations with the communities, and I would process that information. And then after processing the information, it would be utilized by the lawyers to put it into policy. They looked at me. They did not understand where. They just said, okay. I came out knowing, well, at least now I'm going to move. We are going to have policies by the people, and the laws will be shaped, not the British laws. It comes, you have been promoted to Senior Librarian. The roles, same things. Said, now why did I leave my family for all this time to just sit and do this? Okay, I started looking around for jobs. And I recall this advert came. Before that, I became very radical. I told Eva, you know how you read and you feel you want to change things, and the system seems not to be giving you any opportunity. I went, I told Mr. Kavasi, this is what I thought, this is what I think would be doing. I went on and on, practically what I thought the theories would do. Oh yeah, Mr. Kavasi is quite, oh yes, Ruth, I think that's a good idea. We'll think about it. 1 year passed. It was never thought about it. Then I said, So one time, someone in Entebbe, it was the UN, WHO, they were looking for somebody who would actually be collecting information, using different strategies, analyzing it for their sensitization and whatever. So someone comes and tells me, this, and you could actually take up that job. So she took me. I met the WHO rep. Whatever he said was actually what we had read. Because now it is information, communication, and policies. So he says, they haven't yet processed this position, but I want you to come for 6 months. So I sat and I went to Eva. Always tell, when you are working with your colleagues, share with them what you are doing. So I go back to Eva, my assistant, and I say, Eva, do you know what has happened? This is what someone is giving me. So Eva tells me, but Ruth, here there is nothing we are doing. We are just sitting. It is sad I did this, but I did. I left the place. Very early in the morning, the WHO vehicle would drive me to Entebbe. For 3 hours, I do what I did, come back, and do Ministry of Justice work. I mean, you arrive and you ask, Eva, anything, every hour of mine. That's what you say. Anyway, as I was doing that, there was an advertisement. And when I saw the advertisement, I came back home and I told Roman, of my husband, this is my job. And Chidia Willie had also seen it, and he came and said, hey, Ruth, there is this. It looks like what you have been telling me, what you did, it's really this. And there I was. I came back, I told him, this is my job. Then he said, I remember him saying, girl, seeing is not being. Well, to cut the story short, I put in my advert. It was a job for, the advert was for information and documentation coordinator for Women International Cross-Cultural Exchange. It's an international organization looking for an information and communication documentation coordinator. I said, this is my job. And when you have faith, I think it comes. So I put in an application. I sit for months. Then my husband tells me, I told you. You can see, but it doesn't mean it. Then out of the blue, yes, I get this letter. By that time, I was at the Constitutional Assembly. I get the letter. We have searched on who you are. Apologies, it has taken long. I've searched who you are, and really, we have picked on you to come for the interviews. I go for the interviews, then they give me a job. And now, you have always to make sure that you just don't jump from one to another because the executive director then, Millicent Aligawesa, who was the judge auntie. That's how actually he comes to tell me, there is this. Tells me, we want you to start today.
Oh, wow.
Said, but I have a job I signed for at the Constituency Assembly. So we go into negotiations and I told her, you know what? I know you want this documentation center up and running. But I also need to let where I have been know that I've got some other job. And I have another 1 full month to do that, to be able to go back to the ministry.
Yes.
So what I did was to be going Saturday and Sunday. Saturday and Sunday.
Yes.
Monday to Friday at the Constituency Assembly. Then after that, I go to the Ministry of Justice to tell them, you know what, I've got a new job and really I'm not going to be coming back. Oh, Mr. Kaba says, why do you take these NGOs come and go?
Yeah.
All your 14 years, you're going to lose them. But in me, it was not about losing the pension, but I wanted to do something different. I said, you know what, Mr. Kavasi, no, let me go and try. If it doesn't work, if it closes, I will have tried. Ruth, go and think about it again. I said, no, I feel I have. So, I lose all my years. Oh yeah, I lost all the years, but I don't regret because entering ISIS Wiki actually helped me to know who I was and what I could do. Because it is a space that gives you to be innovative, to be creative, and the whole idea of interacting with people. Remember where I'm coming from? It is a place
That is closed.
yeah, and it's closed, but it is open to the rest of the people. So our house was always full packed. Yeah, fully packed.
Yes.
Yeah, so I used to talk to people, but they would be finding me here. But now ISIS Wiki makes me go to them. Oh, what an honor. So we start. And mind you, my idea of a documentation center should not only be for the elites. Opening the walls so that even the marginalized can also document and write their own stories. That was the thing I went with at ISIS Week. And from the word go, of course, within a month, I had put up the documentation center. This was a huge center of, I think it was one of the biggest feminist documentation centers in the world because of the volume of materials were available there. So I put it up, I reclassified them, did different bibliographies, went and running. But the Constituency Assembly helped me understand violence. Because, as I told you, we were so confined. We didn't know that people they can butcher each other to that extent. But sitting with the Winnie Byanyima, the Matembes, to sit together and the Modimugishas, the women's, that group coming to talk to the Constituency Assembly of what is happening so that they can come up with the constitution that would bring in the concerns of women. That's when I came to understand what violence is I grew up not knowing that a man can beat a woman. If my father and mother fought, then they really waited when we were either deeply asleep or something. I don't recall. So, when I went to ISIS Week, I noticed that Makerere University students, mainly, and Chambogo, they would come looking for topics. So what I did was always to take them to the violence section, communication section, because my idea is that every human being must have a voice. Who says the village women don't have voices? And my idea was to open the walls. But if I open the walls, then it means the communication angle must also be tapped to make those women talk. And that is now where I started again with Millicent. I said, Millicent, the reason this organization came to Africa was to tap the African women's voices. Because in that documentation center, the least documented stories were of African women. You find Chinese, Asians, name it. But ours were not there. So I started asking Millicent. Then Millicent was like, but Ruth, you know your department has the least funding. I said, but we need to look for money. We are not, you see, it is only Makerere University students who are coming. It's only Chambogo. Are we here just to serve those? What is your idea? I said, the idea is to reach out to the others. So it went back and forth. You know, information is an area where very few people want to fund. So one day, as destiny is, there was this German woman called Marlies Frost. Marlies Frost was coming to see Nau. They were funding in Nau. So at Nau, Marlies asks, is there any other organization I can meet? So this Jamreku has heard that there is an international organization called ISIS Week. Maybe you could go and say, we don't really know much about what they are doing, but you could go. So Marlies comes, Marlies appears on our doorsteps, goes to see Millicent, and Millicent says, I'll call the program coordinators, but there is this young lady downstairs, the one who is managing the center. She is something else. Maybe you need to hear her story. So we go, we meet Marlies. Everybody talks about what we have come to Africa to do. But then I remember Fenella Potter was the exchange program coordinator. I say, but Ruth has the best story. So he says, okay, Ruth. So it was bubbling. I told her the whole idea I have in my mind. Modern libraries don't only deal with the publications, they deal with the voices of the marginalized, the discriminated, the abused. Because we are not, if we came to Africa to do this, then we cannot get it from the women who are coming from the universities and like us, but those who are actually experiencing this. Yeah. Then she says, Ruth, that is the best story I have had, and I'm going to Heinrich Böll Foundation to tell them this must be done. She arrives, and we get 40,000 euro for the documentation center. And that's how it broke the silence of the women, and we started with the Ruero Triangle. So we go out to document. Of course, we had gone to Beijing, and I forgot to say that when we came, we had a small crisis. People were wondering, what have they come to do? An international organization. And you know, I felt there was more of competition for resources. So others wondered if it is international, it would be given the money and maybe. So Millicent took a stand that we are not going to fundraise from here. We shall fundraise from at the international level. So we started documenting the voices. And of course, I forgot to say that we came in 1994. 1995 is the best year of known by women all over the world. We all go to Beijing. By that time, we were wondering, what is our niche? What is it going to be? Because we didn't want to do things that other women NGOs were doing. So what would be the issues? So we had gone in mind with the issue of documenting women in conflict situations. Yeah. And we went to Beijing to tell them why. And the reason why Africa by that time was on fire. Crisis after crisis, Sierra Leone, Liberia, name it. And here in Uganda, we had just come out of the Luero Triangle. And I think Konyi and all these other, not Konyi, this lady, De La Quena, and I think in 1995, Museveni was already here, president, but the war was still going on in northern Uganda. So it was all conflict. And the good news was that everybody in Beijing who listened to us said, we don't even know what is happening to women and girls in this situation. So it was a breakthrough that ISIS Wiki was now going to be the first organization that was going to talk to these women and girls from the source. We start with Luero, we go to the Gulu, we go to Kitugo, we go to Kasese, we go to the Teso region, and Jack, you can't believe. These women, it was as if it was done yesterday. Those who were mutilated, those who were raped, who were gang raped, they would tell you the hour, how the man looked like, what he was dressed up, what he did, and the color of the chidomola in Luero, how they were burning them and dropping them on the backs of these women, how they saved the fighters. We reached where women, because they were so sick and tired of the war, they were hiding the then rebels. This is where I nursed so and so's hand. This is the herbalist who used to come with the herb. I mean, the stories are huge. Women's knowledge is massive. They healed those people using herbal. Whether it was a wound, whether it was where they did it. And it is ordinary women who never went to school. All that is documented on over 1,000 hours. And I will actually come to you so that we can talk about that, because the story of this country is on those over 1,000 hours. Yeah. So when we did that, and the stories from Luero to Kasese, for me, it gave me the feeling that the fighters look at the woman's body as the temple. The temple that if you break this temple, you would have won. And the attack on women to that level is just to demoralize the other team. Because why is it that it is done systematically? I saw it here in Uganda. I saw it in Liberia. I saw it in Nepal. Why? So maybe feminists need to now sit and interrogate. Why would fighters get the gun and not point at the people they are fighting with and come to attack the bodily integrity of a woman. Why? My thinking is they know, and I think I saw it in northern Uganda, they know that when you attack the women, because women and the naturals, in northern Uganda, they are the ones who would now go to get the food, because men would not get out of the camps. They are the ones who are hiding the men. They are the ones who would do literally everything. They are the ones who would go and tell the government soldiers that we have seen them, they are coming. And if the government soldiers were listening, maybe some of the havocs that happened would not happen. But they just, at the end of the day, the women tell you, later on they come back and say, we didn't find them, so it means you are hiding them. Then they start attacking the women and all that. So there is that niche that we really need to interrogate and find out. Because I don't see sense. You look at what is happening in Palestine. I mean, everywhere. Why? Why this body? Because it is said to be vulnerable, it is weak, it is the victim. But when you see in war situations, it has never been weak, it has been stronger than ever. It has protected communities, it has done literally things that men have not done. But here we are. So when we did Luwero, that is when we started understanding the women and war. And for me, I utilized these women's voices to see how it can reach the policymakers. We wrote reports, but those reports, we called people because a lot of issues were dealing with the health, we called the Professor Omaswa, who actually did a lot, and within no time during his time, we had mental health policy passed, and we started getting the these referral hospitals getting mental health
Specialists.
and the department. So, but that is a person like Professor Maso, who loves his profession, who loves to see things go right. But not much was being done. The women in Luwero whom we found with all those gang rapes and whatever, some were leaking urine, everything, were still the same. So I sat and said, I'm not just a writer. I need to do something else. So I go back to Millicent and say, we have the truth. Government seems to be going slow. I think we can organize medical camps. So she says, now comes Ruth again. But I had got Marie's froze. When she came back and saw the stories, she pushed in another 100,000 for medical intervention. So we did Luwero. But the story of medical intervention is long. So I will just say, we got people like Professor. I went to Professor Mirembe with the Millicent, and she said, you know what? It cannot be, if you say gang rape, but I saw. He said, yes, you saw. But it may also be in the mind. Because mine was more of a reproductive health issue. But Professor Mirembe says that it can also be in the mind that they are sick, but it is a trauma. So you need to get psychologists on board. You need to get surgeons on board. You need to get a team if you really want to heal them. Then Millicent said, where are we going to get that money? We said, but we need to do that. I'm jumping, majority of these will be in my book, but I want to give you the snapshot. So we took a team in Luwero, and The doctors sat and couldn't believe. They came and asked me, but how did you make these women say these things? When we have been coming here on health, wherever, in hospitals, and they don't tell us. But the women had told us, because that was the question. Why didn't you say, Kakati njogererawa? Kiriniki y'omusawo abasajja batudde bonna bonna. How do I speak? All the people are in. You know how the village clinics are. I have never told my husband that I was gang raped. So how do I tell this I was gang raped? What I do is to tell him that I have a headache. So they would go with headaches, given Panadols. I think you also have malaria. And sometimes the doctor has 1,000 to see. So he says, give him also paracetamol and whatever. She goes back with her wounds. We go to women who were leaking urine, the women who had not left their homes for years because they were leaking urine. Dr. Viriavalem, I remember telling me that, hey, you have taught me one thing, to work with women who have been abused. You don't start with health. You start with the social issues. Because we doctors at our times, they never brought in the social aspects. So we would always come. And the reason she said this is we went to one village when we were doing now the announcing that we shall be at Nakaseke Hospital, please come. So she saw mangoes and she said, hey, I'm hungry. So we go and find a woman seated. And she says, Ma'am, we need some mangoes. Of course, in Uganda, the woman looked at her. We need some mangoes. Can you get someone? You get up and get them ourselves. And Dr. Kinyanda immediately knew she's a traumatized woman. So, these are things, Jackie, which go on bothering me. When I look at Uganda, we are jumping on so many things. When this country, as Professor Musisi said, 4 out of 20 are traumatized. And nobody cares a damn to even think that we need a country to heal. And there must be programs that would really heal this country. We have been in war since 1960, wherever. And they call this circle. Scientists tell us that children start getting their trauma in their mother's stomachs, wounds. So how does Ugandan leaders think that they can lead people who are perpetually traumatized? And you don't even care a damn to do that. So Dr. Kinyanda immediately realized that this is Dr. Biriabalem. This one you want to manage. She's in her own world. And I remember him saying one thing. For her, she only lives tomorrow. Today doesn't care a damn if she has passed tomorrow. And later on we realized this woman lost all her children during the war. So all these things enabled me to notice our priorities in this country are upside down. We tend to think about power more than we can think about humanity. Even when we come into power, we don't have enough time to sit and reconfigure what we need to do first. We jump on the wheelbarrow and start where the others stopped and make the same mistakes the others did. Anyway, after Ruero, we had already mastered, the stories were all over the place. We had now started our own website. the EU money came of MDG 3, which we put in, and we were able to get the 1.5 million euro, which we went and did the same thing in Liberia. We did the same thing, the fistula in South Sudan. We did they call themselves the widows of Nepal. Their psychosocial issues, because we had connected all these with the Women Exchange program that brings these women to train, to listen to others, to hear others' voices, and then they go and do the same. The ones in Rift Valley in Kenya, they also picked the medical camp and went and did a camp after the political crisis. And all these are things that now we started noticing. We are not going to continue mourning women. These women are so resilient that they just need to be supported to do something. So we started within, because I remember one woman called Grace Ochak's wife, during the training in the institute, she put up her hand and said, "But Ruth, thank you very much. We have heard about peace. We have heard about the ego. We have heard all these theories we have taught. But are we going to eat peace?" That's when my mind opened. You learn so much from them, because their resilience is none other than theirs. We sat down with Jessica and Harriet and Juliet and said, that is a fundamental question. Do they eat peace? Because we had gone to, whenever I would go back to see them, you find they don't have anything. You see a woman who fought a war in Museveni's war. Now they have chucked them. They cannot be soldiers because they never went to school. And here she is. She came back with some children. She has sucked, the baby has sucked her breast. It is like a chapati. And she can't do anything. You get out of your pocket just to buy milk for that child. So Joyce Aponachak opened our mind, and we started saying, yeah, we have documented, we know the story, but we need to move to now building peace. And how do we build the peace within this kind of women? They can only build the peace when they can economically get empowered. And that's how now we start getting connected to other donors like Ford Foundation, ECO, NORAD, all those, to start skilling them in something that they can do. So we start again with our starting point, Ruero. We ask the women, what can you do? One says, before they left me, I used to do fish. She was a fishmonger. Nasubuga went back to fishmongering. Nasubuga was able to, of course, after healing, we took the doctors. We told them they are the victims. You are not a victim. Affirming them. You need to be in this community for more than 5 years. You don't jump in, jump out. No. They became, hey, we have come to check on you. How are you doing? And give them like born agains do. You give a devotion. You tell them you look beautiful. You tell them, my goodness. She came from tomatoes. She started with tomatoes. She went back to her fish. Nasubuk, after her fish, she was able to put up her 2-roomed iron sheets. That's when I said, but this government has all this. I went to Ruth Nankarira, the minister there of rehabilitation. So I said, Madam Minister, I have worked in your district for the last 5 years, but the women there are sleeping rough. She said, it can't be. The government of Uganda has given iron sheets. They have done everything. I said, yes, they could have done that maybe to one place or another. But where have you gone? Nakaseke, Makuluvita, Nansana, all those districts, they used to know me. I remember the guy used even to say, naye gwe muwala omusanya jangu tukuwe n'ettaka wa. So they knew the car, they knew everything. So I go to her. She says, no, it can't be. I said, if you have time,
Can we go together?
let's go. She said, she was also young and energetic, and she comes, says, no, my people, it can't be. So we go. A whole full day. We start from Makurubita. We started from Chitetika, Makurubita. We went to Nakaseke. We went to all the, horrible. And the good thing, I knew the places. My driver knew these places. When she agreed, I told my driver. And we always see drivers and we think that they're just drivers. Hey, drivers talk a lot with the people. While you are in your workshops, they give you a lot of information, which information you may not have. So you need to go back and affirm that kind of information. So he knew every place, so he drove around. We even have photos when Nankabirwa is holding her chest like this, looking at the women, and she can't believe. Anyway, to cut the story short, she came back and gave iron sheets and sacks of cement, and we distributed to those different homes. Yeah, so economic empowerment, we started a little like that. They started doing their things. That's how you see Gladys Changura. For her, she was bringing the young girls who came from captivity. She starts soap making. She starts with small kiosks. All these girls now, when you go, they are different. Then later on, I said, it's not the job of ISIS Week to be struggling and doing all this. Where is government? This. So we started the International Peace Expositions. Now, International Peace Expositions was now to bring, the aim was to celebrate the women who went through conflict, and they have actually remained the pillars of their homes. Secondly, to bring policymakers to listen to them and see what these women have done. Thirdly, to pull out recommendations that we can hold the policymakers accountable. And our first peace exposition was in Soroti. And I kept that twice, celebrating 10 years of UN Security Council Resolution 1325, where women now, yes. Then the second one, we went to Kasese. Then we noticed that these women, some come when they are sick. So we had mini camps, medical camps,
yes,
for testing HIV and AIDS, for continuing to check women's cervical, whatever. So women who could come in number, we went to Lira. Yeah. So all these now enabled women to become even stronger. We started using, they started, when they saw this girl, who is it? She makes fun every time. Kasime, because Kasime was in Gulu. So they also said, we can do that in our own traditional languages. So they started communication traditional groups where they talk about women, peace and human security, where they celebrate to say we are the victors, we are not the victims. We are continuing to heal our nations. They continued all that. And that's how we managed now to be selected to get the EU MDGs refund, which we did for, as I said, for those other countries.